السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على نبينا محمد المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to this new chapter of this course where we are talking about marriage. Last week, by the bliss of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I spoke about the details of al-wali, the guardian, and we provided the evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah, and also from the actions of Salaf Salih, Sahaba radwanullahi alayhim, that all of them, or the majority of them, with the opinion that al-wali is a condition in marriage, and hadith al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that there is no marriage without the wali. Now, I'd like just to complete this part. I'd like to talk about three subjects related to al-wali. The first subject is متى يسقط حق الولي, when the wali right will be invalid. The wali right will be invalid if he practiced what the Quran called it al-adl. Al-adl means to prevent the woman or the girl to get married to a person with no reason. So this is called al-adl. Now, if the wali, the father, for example, in this case, the first one came to him, the second, the third, and all the time he's saying no, 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 no. And when you ask him the reason, he has no reason. The reason, either they are not from the same country, they are not from the same sect, not from the same town, all these excuses. Now, the wilaya for that father will be invalid now. He has no right, and this will move to another person. Now, between the scholars, there is different views who will be the next. Some, they said the next is the grandfather. It can be go to the son, then to the uncles, and so on. If there is no one of these, then it will go to the sultan, means the ruler. Now, obviously here we don't have rulers, so it can move to the Islamic centers. So when there is an Islamic center, when there is imam, or where there is a committee of scholars, for example, in a masjid, then this wilaya will move to that person. So this is one issue. The second issue, which I've seen it here, and the scholars, they spoke about it. If someone, he committed zina with a lady, then from that lady he has a girl. Some of them will marry that girl afterwards, and some of them, they might leave it, and they don't ask about the girl at all. I'm not talking about those who leave the girl at all. I'm talking about those who will continue, they will marry the mother again after that, after she gives birth, and they make tawbah and all of this. So now he is a good Muslim, mashallah. Now, does that person has wilaya on that girl? According to Sharia, no. He has no wilaya on it. Why? Because zina la yuthbit al-nasab means that if there is zina wal-iyadu billah, then this has nothing to do with the lineage. Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned this clearly in hadith. الولد والفراش والعاهر الحجر. That even if a lady commits zina while she's married, then that one will be to that person, to the real husband, not to that person who committed the zina. But as I said, he has no wilaya, he has no shari'i wilaya. But now this girl likes to get married. Obviously, we need a guardian for her. We need a wali for her to get married. We cannot make the procedure without someone else. So I am saying that this person will be the best person. Not because he's the father, yeah? Because he is as any Muslim who's in that locality, and the girl can appoint him as well. Obviously, the girl can appoint the imam, for example, in this case, or can appoint, any person that she can believe that he's a righteous person. All these can be accepted. But there is no harm at all that person who's now acting as her father can be the wali, not because he has the right, but because he's there anyway. And now he's, mashallah, he's practicing. He made repentance and all of these things. So this is the second part I'd like to mention. The third part regarding the wali: can the wali force his daughter to get married? Now, when you look at Kutub al-Fiqh, the books of fiqh, you'll find there is opinions about this. But all of them, they agreed, for example, that the one who's not virgin, the one who's married before, if she's divorced or she's a widow, that the father cannot force her to marry anyone. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was clear on this, and he said, so Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, الثيب البالغة لا تنكح إلا بإذنها باتفاق الأئمة. So the one who's not virgin and she grown up now, she will not be, or the marriage procedure cannot be applied without her permission. And this is by the ijma', all of them, the imma. And he's in other place he said, البالغ الثيب لا يجوز تزويجها بغير إذنها لا الأب ولا لغيره بإجماع المسلمين. So the girl who reached the age of puberty and she is thayyib, she is not virgin, as I said, either a widow or a divorced girl, you cannot force her to marry without her permission. And this applies for the father or other than the father, and this is by the ijma' of Muslimin. All of the Muslim imma, they are agreed on this. Now, what is the dalil for this? The dalil is the following. In al-Bukhari, عن الخنساء بنت خذام الأنصارية أن أباها زوجها وهي ثيب فكرهت ذلك فأتت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فرد نكاحها. الخنساء بنت خذام الأنصارية, her father made her marry a person without her permission, and she was married before, and she didn't like this. So what she did, she went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he say? He said, this nikah is batil, and he invalidated it. And the Imam Bukhari put a chapter there, باب إذا زوج الرجل ابنته وهي كارهة فنكاحه مردود. يعني Imam al-Bukhari, when he made the title of the chapter, he said, this is the chapter when the man or the father will accept someone for to marry his daughter, and she doesn't like that, then this nikah is not accepted. And this hadith is authentic hadith. And there's hadith Abdullah ibn Abbas: ليس للولي مع الثيب أمر واليتيمة تستأمر وصمتها إقرارها. So hadith sahih that the wali, he has no order with the thayyib, the one who married before, and the one who is virgin, she must be asked. And how can we understand that she approved? By if she kept quiet. She kept quiet because she's shy, she doesn't want to say anything, then this will consider to be fine, and that she approved that. Now, for the one who is bikr, that the one who's virgin, then some scholars, they said, yes, he can if he find there is a reason for that, but the majority, they said, no. You cannot force your daughter to marry someone. And even some great scholars, you'll find, yarhamukallah, there is two narration from them, like Imam Ahmad. He in one narration he said yes, he can, and another narration he said no, he cannot do that. And Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah is with the second opinion, that you should ask the girl before you approve the marriage. And these scholars, they have few hadiths. One of them والبكر تستأذن في نفسها. البكر, the virgin, should be asked by herself. And they also use the hadith that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he refused. And there is hadith on Aisha that a lady came and she said, إن أبي زوجني من ابن أخيه ليرفع بي خسيسته. That my father, he made me marry his nephew to raise his status. وإني كارهة, and I don't like this. قالت اجلسي. So Aisha رضي الله عنها said to her, sit down. حتى يأتي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, until رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم comes. So النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, فجاء رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم فأخبرت. So النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام came, and Aisha told him, فأرسل إلى أبيها. So he called her father. He said, tell me what's going on. فجعل الأمر إليها. So النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, it's up to you. Either you approve what happened, or you say it is. What the lady said, فقالت يا رسول الله قد أجزت ما صنع أبي. I accepted what my father did. ولكني أردت أن أعلم الناس أن ليس للآباء من الأمر شيء. But I like to teach the people that the fathers cannot force their girls to get married. Clear hadith in this regard, and we can see the practice of those people who trying to force their girls, and they're thinking this is from Islam. This is not from Islam. Yes, as I said, there are some scholars, there is some narration from them, they are saying, but the majority, they say no. And again, brothers, we need to understand that now the level of, the level of the girls changed. The life has changed. The girls now educated. they go to the universities, they go to schools, and all of these things. So they have some knowledge about all of these things. And the problem is, you will never find an educated person with knowledge, mashallah, practicing, that he will force his daughter. This will not happen. I assume that someone he's, mashallah, practicing, and mashallah, he has knowledge, educated person, he will not force his daughter to marry. Especially, who will force them to marry? The cousin or someone he has interest with him. But you who will do this, people, they don't have enough knowledge. Alaykum salam. They don't have enough knowledge. They are trying to apply the culture over the deen. So they think, oh, this being promised, they've been promised together since they were 1 year old. Did they write the nikah when they were 1 year old? Yani, promise, okay. But this is nothing from the deen. Nothing from the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the second point today is, as I said, Adl al-Wali. We covered this subject, but just I'll go through it quickly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلُهُنَّ فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ. So, when you divorce the women and they reach the time of the iddah, they finish, then don't prevent them of marrying their husband. The husband, even sometimes he's the previous husband, if it was just one talqa or two, or sometimes the one she's happy with, she's accepted, and he's the right person. And the scholars, they said, if the person, he stopped his daughter from marriage, then his wilaya will move to another person. And al-Shafi'i wa Ahmad, they are with the opinion that the wilaya move to the sultan, to the judge in that area, or to the ruler, as I said earlier. Now, sultan, as we said, is the ruler. Here in these countries, obviously we don't have sultan. So, as I said earlier today, the Islamic centers can do this job, and the imam can do this job. Obviously, they have to look at all these circumstances. But there is an important point here. And I do this, and this is my advice to anyone who might do the same thing. Don't jump to say, okay, that if the girl, for example, comes, call the imam or call the masjid, crying and say, there is a person, and mashallah, he's praying, he has a good job and all of this. So everything is good about him, but my father saying no. Then why he's saying no? I don't know what he's saying no. Then you jump to a conclusion, you say, no problem, we'll deal with this. It's not right. All the time, in any case, you need to hear from the two parties. Ask, give me the phone of your dad. Call him. Brother, what's the problem? Your daughter called us. Choose the right words, and that there is something going on. Understand what is his opinion. Now, if you find that what he's saying is right, going with the Sharia, okay. So he is the right one. But if he tried to say, you have nothing to do, there's nothing to do with you, why you are calling? Yeah? Why you are calling? She's my daughter. I don't want anyone to involve in this. I have my issues, my reasons. Tell me the reasons. I don't want to talk about this. This means that he knows, that parent, that he has no reason. Because if he has a reason, he will say, okay, this is my reasons. Because the imam of the masjid, all the time, this is what we try to do. We try to help the people to solve their problems. If that person doesn't want to talk, even my advice, I say to the girl, okay, talk to someone else. Talk to your uncle or auntie, or even find out which masjid he's going to. And maybe the imam of that masjid, maybe he doesn't like to talk to people from Islamic Center. But if it is from another masjid, he might listen to them. So exhaust all the options to see what's the problem from the father before you say, yes, okay, we can carry on. A case came and the girl, she made a lot of accusations about it. The parents and the uncles and all of these things. And the details she was saying is awful. It's difficult to ask. Difficult to call the parents, all these things. And if her age and that she's not a girl of 16, 18, 20, any early ages, then the imam or maybe ask other scholars, what do you think about this case? And you might accept that marriage, so the imam can be the wali of that girl. Now, who are the first? As I said earlier, the first one is the father, and then the grandfather. Now, the madhahib, they have different opinion on this, and for example, al-Ahnaf saying al-abna' thumma al-aba' thumma abna'uhum. So firstly the fathers, then their children. The Malikiyya saying al-aba' then al-abna'. Al-Shafi'iyya saying al-ab then al-jad, the father then the grandfather. And al-Hanabila is the same. If the father and the son is not there, then they go to the grandfather, called to Ahnaf, and then to the brothers and the sons of these brothers, then to the uncles, and so on. This is regarding how the wali work. Obviously, you can give your authority to someone else to do the nikah. So the father can give the authority to anyone, as long as that person is a Muslim, baligh, aqil. He's reached the puberty and he is sane. Now we'll come to another subject regarding this, which is ash-shahada. Now, there is a principle in Islam, we'll find it in many issues, that you need, for many things, you need shuhud. You need shuhud. What shuhud? Witnesses. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Ayat al-Dain, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest ayah in the Quran, he said, وَأَشْهِدُوا ذَوَيْ عَدْلٍ مِّنكُمْ, that when you write the contract of borrowing and lending, then bring two people to be witness on that contract. And he said, then if you don't have two men, then one man and two women. Now, when it comes to the shahada al-nikah, that do we need witnesses? And the majority of the scholars with this opinion, that we need Al-Malikiyya, they have another opinion, saying no, the shuhud is not important, but what's important? Al-Ishhar. What's al-Ishhar? That to tell everyone that this happened. So, for example, when the people, they have walima for that, this is Ishhar. If you invite your friends and relatives, this is ishhar. So, and they are saying, if there is ishhar, then at the moment of the marriage shuhud. This is the opinion of al-Malikiyya, but it is being discussed by the other scholars, and even they said group of the scholars of the Malikiyya later that they went with the majority and they said yes, we need shuhud in this when we do the nikah. And this is madhab Abu Hanifa والشافعي والإمام أحمد رحمهم الله جميعا. And الكاساني said قال عامة العلماء إن الشهادة شرط جواز النكاح. The majority of the scholars, they said الشهادة, the witnesses, is a condition that this nikah is valid and permissible. الإمام النووي who's Shafi'i said الركن الثالث in the third pillar of the marriage الشهادة فلا ينعقد النكاح إلا بحضرة رجلين. So the witnesses and the nikah cannot be accepted without the attendance of two men. Ibn Qudama from الحنابلة said لا ينعقد النكاح إلا بشاهدين. So the nikah cannot be valid without two witnesses. And this is from Umar radiallahu anhu, Ali, Ibn Abbas, Sa'id Musayyab, Jabir ibn Zayd, Hassan, and many other scholars. The dalil for this group of scholars is Hadith Aisha أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا نكاح إلا بولي وشاهدين. And this hadith authentic by Shaykh al-Albani rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. So what the hadith says, there is no marriage without the wali and two witnesses. Now, these two witnesses, what they should be, the first thing, al-aql wal-bulugh. What aql means that both of them sane, and al-bulugh, they reach the age of puberty. So, if they are, it depends, 12, 13, 14, something like this. And so Ibn Qudama said, if someone like to have a nikah and they bring two children, no, this nikah, no, cannot be valid. Or people who are crazy or mentally have mental issues, they are not recognizing what they are doing. This nikah cannot be valid. And obviously they must be Muslims. And the other important condition, they must be male. And this is the majority of the scholars, brothers and sisters, that these two shahid, two witnesses, must be male. We cannot replace them by 4 female, for example, or 1 male and 2 ladies. Yani, maybe someone will say, I'd like to my daughter to get married. Okay, I have other daughters, they can be, and my son can be. So, like to do it just family thing. Yes, the son can be shahid. The father cannot be shahid because he's the wali. So this means that we need another person, and the other person must be a man. And this is the opinion, as I said, of the majority of the scholars. It is narrated from Imam Ahmad that in some cases he accepted 1 man and 2 women. and I say this, if there is a situation that it is very, very rare, and the circumstances is very complicated, and this is the only option available. You cannot find another man, or there is a problem in the marriage in itself. You don't want people next door or in the locality to know what's going on. Maybe there is a problem there. Yes, this is what Imam, yani, those who are adopting this opinion. But I am saying this is very rare, but the majority, and what I am with, and I am promoting and saying, we need all the time, when these shuhud coming, they must be two Muslim, baligh, aqil. So they must be Muslims, and they reach the age of puberty, and they must be sane. And there are other scholars, they are adding, they must be adl. Adl means that that person known that, mashallah, he's practicing, he's not a liar, he's not drinking, he's not doing bad things openly, because the ayah saying وَأَشْهِدُوا ذَوَيْ عَدْلٍ مِنْكُمْ in Surah Al-Talaq. This is about the witnesses. Now, do we have to record the marriage? Now, I'm sure all of you know, in the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, there isn't any recording. So they just coming, زوجتك, قبلت, finished. And at that time, there is no need for the papers. The life was so simple. Now the life became difficult. And I am with the opinion that these days, because of the change of the circumstances, that it's better to record it Islamically. I'm not talking about the registry office. I'm talking Islamically. And alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, now the masajid, most of the masajid, they are issuing marriage certificate. And even now, these marriage certificates from the masajid are recognized by the government. Because there was a case, and that lady, I think, made a claim, and when she showed the marriage certificate, then the ruling were in her favor, because she proved that she was married to that person. Yes, she doesn't have the civil one, but the marriage certificate from masjid now recognized by the government when there is a dispute and all of these things, but they still need the registry office and all of these things. But I am saying, and my advice to all the parents, to be sure that they record this marriage, and ask the witnesses to sign it, ask the wali to sign it, and the girl, everyone, so everything will be there. And why this is important? If you remember, maybe in the first lesson or the second lesson, I gave you an example that there is a lady married, then after that she separated, then she married again from another person, and she has children from I cannot remember, children from the first one, children from the second one. Now, when there is papers, then the things will be easy. Now, when there is someone comes to me now, and especially if she's the lady herself, she's approaching, and I'll ask her if she married before or not. If she say I married before, I say I need to see the divorce certificate. Because you don't want to start the procedure of a marriage, and this lady, she's only separated, she's not divorced. So you are now going with the procedure of marrying a lady and she already married. And this is absolutely haram. And there are people doing this. There are people doing this, especially from the ladies. I think it is rare that a person, he will know that she is married and will go and marry her. It's very rare. But they know a lady and then she, are you married? No, no. I was married and I was divorced, or we've been separated 10 years. But nothing happened. So this is why I am saying my advice to the parents, to the sisters who are listening, that be sure that you record it. And ask the masjid, ask the imam who are doing this to record this, to protect yourself and also to protect any or to prevent any haram thing of happening in the future, inshallah ta'ala. Now when we write the nikah certificate, in all of them you'll find there is a box saying conditions. Now we know the simple marriage is ijab qabul. So I accepted you as a husband for my daughter, and the brother will say, I accept it. So now we have ijab qabul, finished. But, and also there is the mahar, which is and then there is the mahar, which is, I spoke about it. Now we'll come to the conditions. What conditions can we write on that? Now the majority of the conditions that I've seen is simple conditions. But we have to understand which conditions are allowed, which conditions are not accepted. So, there are three types of conditions. The first one, if these conditions goes with the Sharia, goes with the rules or the duties of the husband, the duties of the wife, and there is nothing in these conditions against Sharia. For example, if she said that he will treat me kindly, or he must spend on me, or he must be just between me and his other wives, or the man, he will say, my condition that she doesn't go outside my house without my permission, and she's not allowed to deal with my wealth without my permission. As long as these conditions goes with the Sharia, then there is no harm at all. The second type, if these conditions are against the Sharia or against the purpose of the marriage in itself. So, the majority of Ahl al-Ilm, the people of knowledge, they said any condition against the Sharia, or the Sharia said this is haram, or this is against the purpose of marriage, then this shart, this condition is batil. So for example, if the woman, she say, yes, we will marry, but I cannot obey you. I just do what I like. Or I'd like to go from outside the house when I like without any conditions. Or she said, okay, I am the second wife, but you give me 6 days and the old one one day only. Or if he say, I marry you, but I will not spend on you at all. Spend on yourself. And or he will say, I marry you, but there is no mahar. So he put this as a condition. Now all these things are against the ruling, against the Sharia. But if we go to this mahar, if she herself, she said, or her wali said, we don't want mahar. The mahar is ayah min al-Quran. Or the mahar is, I've seen a nikah, and I think she said, Umrah. Take me to Umrah. Even I said, if you remember, this shirt is not right, because the Umrah is not, can be 4 stars or 2 stars. So the idea is, if willingly, the lady, she said, I don't want this, that's fine. But to make this as a condition, you say, okay, I'll marry you, but you don't have this. You say this. And you put it in the condition. And these conditions are against the Sharia. You are supposed to spend on her. This is your wajib. You are supposed to be just between your wives, if you have 2 or 3. So if you are making a condition, and I marry you, but this is the condition, this condition is batil. If there is, as they said, shart fasid, if there is a shart, a condition, and that condition is not right. So اتفق أهل العلم على بطلان الشروط الفاسدة. So the people of knowledge, they agreed that all the condition which is not right against the Sharia, then that contract is batil. So like, if you remember nikah al-shighar, that I marry your daughter and you marry my daughter, so this is the condition, this is shighar, or nikah tahleel, muhallal, and so on. So we have to be sure that when we have any condition, then this condition must be according to the Sharia and not against the Sharia. And in this way, then inshallah ta'ala there will be less problems. Because the problem is, I've seen it, when the people start put a lot of conditions, then this marriage will be unsettled, unstable. Why? Because that woman or that man, he is trying to surround this beautiful relation with a lot of conditions. You do that, you don't do that, you do that, you don't do that, and make this part of the aqd. Obviously, you can, in the first nights, first weeks, to accept, to understand each other, to say, look, I like this, I don't like this. I can't remember who is the scholar, but he is one of the maybe tabi'een or tabi'een. I think after 40 years of marriage, his students asked him, could you tell us why, or do you have problems in your marriage? He said, no. They said to him, how come? You've been married 40 years, there is no problem. I said, yes. He said, the first night of our marriage, I said to my wife, welcome. I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I don't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. And that's it. I made all the efforts that I don't do anything that she doesn't like. And she made all the efforts that she doesn't do anything I don't like. And the life continued. So these people, they can do this. And there is, in the books, you will find there is wasaya. وصايا الأم لابنتها, that there is the mother, what she advised her daughter at that time, and the father advised his daughter and his son, and all of these things, because these things are very, very important, brothers and sisters. And this is why I believe many people, why they fail in their marriage, because they don't understand. They don't understand what the marriage is. They don't understand what the duties and what the rights. They think there are some things, it is normal, but they think this is a right. And there are some husbands, they think that all the things that the women doing normally, this is a must. She must cook, she must clean, she must do this, she must do this. But how far all these musts are true? And the woman, she says, he must do this, he must do that, he must do that, he must do that. And she doesn't understand that where these must come from. And if I say now, this woman must do that, I have to prove this by the Sharia, by the Quran, by the Sunnah al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, by the practice of the Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim. I will come to another topic, which is, I think, very important, which is al-kafa'a. What do we mean by al-kafa'a? Al-kafa'a, they are compatible. That man is the right man for me. But how I consider that man is the right man for me? So the scholars from different madhab, they spoke about different things. All of them, they put the first one. What do you think the first one? First one is deen. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, إِذَا أَتَاكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. When the one with deen comes to you, then accept him. Now, this condition, all the scholars with it, without any exception. How many of the parents, brothers and sisters, now they are applying this? You'll find the people, when they ask, so someone will come and ask for their daughter's hand. So they will say, what are you doing? Oh, mashallah, I am a solicitor. Oh, mashallah. You have a good job, mashallah. Do you have your own house? Yeah, alhamdulillah. I've done the mortgage 2-3 years, and mashallah, everything is going well. And what else? Oh, mashallah, he looks handsome, mashallah. Okay. And from which village you are? I am from Sylhet, or from Karachi, or from what else? Islamabad. Okay, this is the common questions here. MashaAllah. Okay, accepted. Oh, how many they are accepted? Oh. Where do you go to the masjid? Which masjid you go to? Or have you been to courses, or do you know any of the Quran? You'll be surprised, brothers and sisters, if I say to you, the people, well, I'm talking about Luton, maybe some of Bedford. If we say the people in these two towns here, these two, they can read the Quran properly, they are not more than 25%. Cannot read the Quran properly. If you ask them how many surahs you do, 3, 4, maximum 5. And I remember one of the courses for sisters, not brothers, sisters. And I asked them, tell me the surahs, and all of them, mashallah, adults. And I found 4, 5, and with these 4, 5, they are making a lot of mistakes. Al-Fatiha. If I say among Muslims who are coming to the mosques and praying in the mosques, if I say 50% of them, they don't read the Fatiha properly, I'm not exaggerating the thing. Are facts. Now, more than 50% they don't pray. And you can see this clearly. Come to the Masjid, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Fajr. How many people? In this masjid, mashallah, look. 3 floors. How many? 2, 3 lines? Where are the other people? But mashallah, very powerful of Muslims. And there is masjid here, there is masjid there, masjid. So these people, they don't pray. And you'll ask, if you meet a group of people who are attending anything, any gathering, how many of these people praying? You'll be shocked to find maybe half of them. They don't pray. But if they find themselves, they need to pray, most of them, they stand and they pray. Even some of them with wudu or without wudu. Allahu Ta'ala. This is what we say, al-kafa'a. When the scholars, they said al-kafa'a, this is a condition that you are now handing your daughter to a person to live with him. And the way we are thinking about it, this is forever, as long as they are alive. As long as they are alive, they are together. So I am giving my daughter to a person who doesn't know Allah. To a person, his relation with Allah is 0. And once I said it, I said the one who doesn't pray, it is as your father, he's abroad. Lillahi al-mathal al-a'la. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the best example. But your father is abroad, you haven't seen him for a year. Then he called, he'd like to talk to you. And then you say, no, I don't want to talk to you. Why? I don't want to talk to you. That's it. You are saying to your Lord, the one who created you, provided you everything, I don't want to talk to you. Dhuhr, I don't want to talk to you at Dhuhr time. Asr, I don't want to talk to you. Maghrib, I don't want to talk to you. The whole day I don't want to talk to you, my Lord. Then the next day, then the third day, then there is months. And that person, he say, oh Allah, I don't want to talk to you. Because what's salah? Salah communication. You are saying, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. You are praising Allah. You say, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. You are glorifying Him. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say, Tahiyyatu lillah. You are saying, Lillah. Tahiyyat. So you are refusing to do all of these things. You don't want to communicate with your Lord. Then you'll go to get married to a girl and you ask, Masha, is she wearing hijab? Are you wearing hijab yourself? Are you wearing the hijab from the shaitan or not? Because if you are not praying, you are following the shaitan. Where's the hijab you put on yourself from the shaitan? You didn't. But you need the girl to wear a hijab, mashallah. And one of them, one lady once asked me, can I ask him about his past? Ask him about his past. If this person, he is praying now, if he's praying, you can see that this person is practicing, what's his past is his past, his responsibility. But if I have information about that person, look, this person, he comes, he asks for the hand, then he starts going with her, then after two months, he'll say, no, I changed my mind. And there is a person did this. That one not only, not engagement, no, he will marry the lady for a few months, then divorce her. Marry, divorce, marry, divorce. This is what he's doing. Now, I have to ask. I have to ask about the person, who's he? And why, if he's, even in this case, marrying divorce, is there a reason, or he just playing with the minds and hearts of the girls? So when the scholars, they say, the first condition, the first rukn of al-kafa'a, they must be compatible, that الدين must be there. Then they spoke about al-nasab, al-hurriya, al-san'a, al-nasab, lineage. And if you remember that hadith, that girl, she said, لِيَرْفَعَ بِي خَسِيسَتَهُ, that he's from different level, but he tried to marry me so he will improve his status. Al-hurriya, obviously the freedom is not applicable now because, alhamdulillah, the people, all of them free. Al-sana. When it comes to a-sana, we are not saying that the doctor must marry a doctor, the engineer must marry. Where you can find female doctors for the male doctors? Cannot apply this. But we are saying, when, if the first rukun is there, ad-deen is there, and then this person, your daughter, for example, very well educated, and that one who comes, mashallah, he's praying, but he's nil when it comes to knowledge and education and these things. The deen, yes, he's praying, but he needs the knowledge to deal with the other things. Deen is very important. There is no doubt about these things. But you have to think about the other things, because, as I said, you are handing your daughter to a person who will deal with her the rest of their life. This is what you are expecting. So you have to think about the level of knowledge, and don't throw your daughter to someone who has no knowledge at all, because in this way you might find them dispute from the first week, and you don't want this to happen. Try to be sure that there is a level between them. I'm not saying they must be the same level, but something that makes them understand each other, inshallah ta'ala. And the most, if you remember when I spoke about the wali, I said the most madhab who talks about al-kafa'a is the Hanafi madhab. Al-Kasan al-Hanafi said, الكفاءة تعتبر للنساء لا الرجال، على معنى أنه تعتبر الكفاءة في جانب الرجال للنساء. So we need to know what is the qualities of the man to be accepted for the woman. And there is, when it comes to the woman, they didn't put conditions. This is about the Ahnaf. And they said, إذا زوج الولي غير الأب والجد الصغير فإن تزويجه من غير الكفء لا مصلحة له فيه. يعني if the wali accepted the marriage or if he's the grandfather or son, then his marriage might be invalid if that man is not kufu, is not compatible. This is what the Ahnaf said. Now, العلماء, when it comes to حكم الكفاءة, there is two opinions. One of them, they said it is شرط لصحة النكاح, and this is a condition for the nikah to be valid. And this is the opinion of Sufyan al-Thawri, and it is one of the narrations of Imam Ahmad. The other opinion, that it is not a condition, and this is an opinion of Imam Ahmad, and it's the opinion of the majority of Ahl al-Ilm. Now, some of them, they said, you must look at all the conditions. You remember when I spoke about the first condition, this is all the ulama with the first condition, that the deen is a must. When I'm talking about the others now, they are talking about the other things, which is the nasab, the lineage, the san'a, which is mean the profession or the skills, and all of these things. Now, Ibn Qudama, for example, he's saying أكثر أهل العلم لا يعدون الكفاءة شرط في النكاح. So he's saying the majority, they don't consider this is a condition. But all of them, they are saying it is, as I said earlier, when it comes other than the deen, other than to be righteous, then these things can be discussed. But the deen and the person must be righteous. This is a must. Now, these days, when we like to apply this, I say, my advice to all the parents, when you would like to accept a person to your daughter, I repeat what I said earlier, ask about the salah. Ask him when the last time he went to al-Jama'ah. Ask him about which masjid he goes with. Because maybe this masjid that he is going with, that from Ahl al-Bid'ah, the people of Bid'ah, and maybe this Bid'ah Shirkiyah. Because there is some Bid'ah reaches the level of shirk, that the people, they are associating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if that person goes to that masjid and he's adopting their ideas, then he might be mushrik. And you are accepting a mushrik to your daughter. And the other way around. So they say to you, mashallah, there is a girl in this area, and ask about all these things, because in these days, brothers and sisters, as you know, there are different opinions, there are different sects, there are different groups, and all of these things. Be sure that you choose the right person, the deen first. Then be sure that the person, after the deen, that this person is compatible. There is compatibility between them, to the best of your knowledge and to the best of their interests, both of them, the man and the woman. And this, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, will save them a lot of problems in the future. So I'll stop here, inshallah, and if there is questions, we can answer it. And next week there will be no lesson because I'm traveling, inshallah ta'ala. But we'll see you, inshallah, the following Wednesday after Asha, inshallah ta'ala. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. There's no mic. I am saying, when I spoke about this thing, that you will find many people, many Muslims, in reality, they don't know anything about the Quran. Maybe they don't know how to read it. They've been praying for many years and they don't recite the Fatiha in a proper way. I'm saying these examples of what we have. I'm not saying that ask him how many surahs you are. Okay. So those kind of... Yes. Yani in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he asked the person, what do you have? He said, I have nothing. Then he said to him, هل تحفظ سورة البقرة? Do you memorize سورة البقرة? He said, yes. He said, زوجتك بما تحفظ. That I accepted your marriage with what you memorize of the Quran. There isn't specific requirements here. يعني Nabi عليه الصلاة والسلام considered, because البقرة is the greatest surah after Al-Fatiha, we can say. Then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he accepted, because the one who managed to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah, this means that he's making a lot of effort to learn. It is not someone memorize قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس. Okay? So this is my understanding, that person has knowledge. I hope that I answered your question. Now, the hadith doesn't say that. But this means that he can. If you have knowledge, you can pass it to the other people. Inshallah. The non-Muslim cannot be wali. The father, if the father non-Muslim, if the girl became a Muslim, a revert, and she brings her father for the nikah ceremony, he can be there. There's no harm on this, but he cannot be wali. So the wali must be someone else, either the imam or a person that she chooses. Because this condition is against the Sharia. Because the Sharia made it lawful for you to marry. If you made that condition, the aqd is sahih, the nikah is okay. We cannot invalidate it. But now about you. So you'd like to commit to this, it's up to you. But if you accepted this from the beginning, You've been married now for a long time and these things, and you'd like to get married again, then you need to ask her permission. You have to fulfill your condition. At the time when you put this condition, you don't know. You cannot invalidate your marriage now. Many people, when they accepted the nikah and all of these things, the Imam says, زوجتك زوجتك, قبلت, finish. But you don't ask about the details. Yes. ماريا القبطية. So Maria al-Qibtiyya, when the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he sent a letter to Al-Muqawqas, and he was the king of the Romans in Egypt. So that man, because he was following the Romans, he was acting as a ruler in behalf of the Romans. This is what his job was. So what he did, he respected the letter of the Prophet ﷺ. The Nabi ﷺ, in that letter, he invited him to become a Muslim and follow Islam. So instead, he cannot at that time to reject the Romans and say to them, I am not your governor anymore. So kindly, he sent with the messenger of the Prophet ﷺ, he sent with him a donkey, and on the donkey a girl called Maria. So, and the Nabi ﷺ, married her, and I think she has a sister also. So the Nabi ﷺ married Maria, and Maria became Muslim, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed with him with Ibrahim, and who lived for a while, then died when he was young, very young. So it's permissible. But the two that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam married them, they became Muslims. Maria and Safiya bint Huyay, who was Jewish. جزاكم الله خيرا.